our special guest, ASEAN Global Leader, Top Producer, Senior Vice President, Mr. James Edlam. Can you just give it a class virtual?
Oh, Mr. MD, first of all, thank you so very much, man. I appreciate you, and I'm honored to have a chance to be on with all of you, with all the leaders in Asia Pacific, all the rising leaders, those of you that are already at executive positions like ETL and all the leaders that are regional director and above. It is just an honor for me to be out here. But you know what, Mr. MD, I'm just gonna do something here for a second, because I would love to have a chance to say a real hello to you, like a real hello to Asia Pacific. I know that is bright and early there, so I just love a chance to say hello to everyone. So hey, hi everyone, how are you?
Hello.
How you going, Mike?
Oh, great day. Good morning to you.
Hello, sir.
For the ASEAN. Assisting customers by the ASEAN or an agency service partner.
Much for giving me the love. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love. I love the love. So thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And it's you know, it is, to say it's a joy to be on here is really, like, I cannot express enough what it is for me, because Mr. MD Rahman is right. You know, he and his family and my family, we vacationed together. I saw him go from new person to senior vice president in this company. I remember when I had a chance to meet him for the very first time. What's amazing about him is that he's always been the same. I mean, he's always been the same. He's the same that you see right now. He's just a senior vice president impacting more lives. And, you know, when I think to myself about an RVP retreat that we had a chance to meet Fung and Winnie, and, you know, to see them as new RVPs, now senior vice presidents, I just think it's so incredible to have a business where you get to see people grow and develop and learn and explore and come into their own. And I have the honor of being able to do a bit of a training. I'm going to encourage you to just be open, just listen. I want this to make a difference for you. I want this information to hopefully impact you. I'm hoping that one day I'll get a message from Mr. James Kwai, and he's going to say, James, well done on that Zoom webinar you did for us. That'd be a highlight for me. But I just want you to just be. And look, it's my hope and prayer that you and your families are safe, that you and your families are sound, that you are doing the smart thing and protecting yourselves and those that you love. And let's just get at it. If that's okay with you, I'm just going to get at it. So, and feel free to chat it up with me, because, you know, like, that's always a cool thing to do. I'm going to do a screen share right now. And I'm hoping that if everything we talk about here goes well and you really apply what we talk about, I believe something really, really, really special is going to happen. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in this business. Some of you might be a guest. It might be your first exposure. Leadership and leaders make their decisions very early. And so I'm going to talk to all of you like you're all people who are leaders, who are doing this business or will do this business for reasons bigger than yourself. Because the thing that I can tell you about leaders is that leaders don't make decisions based on just self. They make decisions based on the group. And so let's talk about leadership right now. So I'm going to get into this information with you. And so first of all, here's the message is I want to talk to you about Leidan. And Leidan is the actual root of the word leader. Now, Leidan means to guide, to bring forth. The whole purpose of being a leader is not just to guide and bring forth others, things and other people. It's actually to guide and bring forth you to yourself. You see, because there's always two of us. There's the you that you are, and there's the you that you know you're supposed to be. And they're not always they're in the same body, but they're not always expressed at the same time. I'm hoping what I just said made sense. They're in the same body, but they're not always expressed at the same time. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for you to meet you, the real you, not the you that you've let everybody believe you are, but the real you, the you that you know that you really, really are. And so leadership is to bring forth the you that you know you are, so you can empower other people to bring forth the leaders that they know that they are, and introduce people to themselves. So your number one responsibility in personal development is to grow your person so you can grow people. All right? I hope this all makes sense. So I want to talk to you about personal leadership, because sometimes people want to know, well, how did Mr. MD do this, or how did Winnie do that, or how did Fung do that? How did these leaders do what they've been able to do in this business? Well, the first thing is they looked at themselves like a project. You see, you are the most important project there's ever been. You see, some people put a lot of time and money into their cell phones. Like the new iPhone will come out or the new Android will come out and they'll spend $1,000 or whatever dollars. Some people put a lot of money into their cars. They want to have their cars immaculate. They want them to be really nice. They want them to be high performance. Now, one of the things about the car is that it goes down in value. The cell phone, as great as it is today, goes down in value. Some people feel like they should put all their effort into houses, like make their house perfect, make their house immaculate. Their house looks great. But very few people understand the value of investing in themselves. And it's a shame, because before the house was you, before the car was you, before all the stuff was you. And for you to have the things that you really want to have, you have to be able to spend time with your mind. Most people live in a body, but they spend no time with their mind. It's just a body moving around, reacting to heat, reacting to cold, reacting to hunger, reacting to upset. It's a constant state of reaction. But when you make a choice to own your mind, you learn how to spend time with your mind. So I just put up some books. There are literally thousands and thousands, and there's hundreds of thousands of books in the world to make you better. Yet, most people won't read those books. And I think that's a shame, because everything you are experiencing in life, somebody else experienced before you. And they experienced it before you, and they took the time to write it in a book. What a shame it would be to fail a test that somebody else has passed because you didn't take time to read the answers in the book. So your goal is to guide yourself. Personal leadership is about guiding yourself. Personal leadership is about who can you be. And in guiding yourself, you get to bring forth the best in others. Because, here's what I truly believe: to discipline yourself to take actions required in spite of your feelings. It's about personal leadership. So I want you to think for a second, and you can engage by you could do a hand raise right now on your Zoom. I want you to think about, is there anyone outside of me that has something that you should be doing, that somehow every day you should do it, and somehow every day it doesn't get done? Raise your hand. Give me a hand raise if you know what I'm talking about. Every day there's something that you should be doing. You tell yourself the night before, oh, tomorrow I'm getting this done, baby. This bad boy is done. As the sun rises, which is risen right now for you all, you wake up and you look at the sun and you say, man, I will do that tomorrow. Tomorrow I will get on and I will make that happen. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how many tomorrows there have been. For some people, there have been years of tomorrows. There's something that was supposed to have been done years ago. And I want you to think about this phrase for a second. You don't have to, you can write down if you wanted to, but you might just remember it. I don't want you to spend your time, and I don't want you to think about your life and look back one day and see that your life was nothing more than years of tomorrows. What a shame would be to look up one day and realize that your whole life has been nothing but a bunch of tomorrows compounded over years. And you look up one day and everything that you truly wanted, you didn't do. It takes discipline, and that discipline comes through personal leadership. It takes your willingness to challenge yourself to be an uncommon person and to do uncommon things. That's what's required. That's why I say leadership is not just about leading other people, it's about leading yourself. However, you can only go as far as you see yourself, and you can only lead people as far as you see yourself. You see, sometimes people think that people lead themselves, but people are led by their vision of themselves. You know, if you've ever seen a person that knows that they're supposed to, so when I was growing up, I was a little chubby. I don't know if chubby is an Asia Pacific phrase, but I had a little extra meat on the bone. And I watched one day Conan the Barbarian, the original movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And in that movie, he did something called the Wheel of Pain, where he's a little kid and they punish him by putting him on this long pole with this wheel, and he has to push it around. And it's this really hard thing to do. But as he's pushing this wheel around, he's getting bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually, he becomes this muscle-bound Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, I remember seeing this when I was a kid and being like, I didn't know our body had muscles like that. Because as I'm looking at my 3 stomachs, you know, when you sit down, there's like 3 levels, level 1, 2, 3. As I'm looking at my 3 levels of tummy, I'm like, I didn't know a stomach could look like that. So I made a decision that I want to get in shape. So here's my idea. I was living in Newark, New Jersey on the East Coast of the United States, and I was in the hood. That is the ghetto. That means bad neighborhood, and you don't go exercising in Newark, New Jersey, in the streets of Newark. So I made this grand idea. I was going to exercise in my bathroom, because my bathroom had the most stable floors in the house. So I'm probably like 10 or 11, and I decided I'm going to buy the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. This is what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack, and I'm going to go running in my bathroom. So here I am, 10 years old, God's honest truth. My mother would come in, and she'd say, "What are you doing?" And I say, "I'm getting in shape." And she's like, "How are you getting in shape?" I was in the bathroom running. One song would play, and I would sprint. Another song would play, and I would jog. So here's my thing. Jog for a song, sprint for a song for the entire album. That was what I did. By the time school started, people were like, "Oh my God, James, you've lost weight. What did you do?" And I'm thinking, I did? And let me tell you why I said that. Because even though physically I was different, I couldn't see it. See, here I am. I made the decision to change. I changed. But I couldn't tell that I had changed. Just looking at me in the mirror, all I saw was the little chubby me. But everyone around me saw the changed me. So here's what I learned years later. That inside of me is that little chubby boy dying to get out. Because, and in order to keep him from getting out, I have to control myself and be the guardian of my gate to not let him out. Now, let me ask you a question. What I just said, give me a hand raise if there's something that you have to control, otherwise you know your life will go to chaos. You know there's something about you that is not reflective of who you want to be, and you're fighting daily to make sure that that person stays buried to not take over your life. Okay, thank you for being honest. So you will only lead yourself as far as you see yourself. So if you're in this business and you're around free people, you're around people who are free, but you don't allow yourself to see freedom, you could be in the land of freedom and still not see freedom because you don't see yourself as a free person. So here you are in a land of free, but you're not free. When we're saying, hey, you can use this business and create freedom, you don't hear what we're saying because there's another you that is dominating the conversation. And if that you would be quiet long enough, you could hear us. And if you could hear us, you could actually hear you, because you want your freedom as much as we want you to have your freedom. We actually sometimes may want it more than you, but eventually if you stick with this long enough, you're gonna catch up. And when you catch up and you create it for yourself, you can inspire other people to do the same thing. That's the point. Hopefully this makes sense to everybody. Okay, very, very good, right? And by the way, I think kind of, so if at any point what I say doesn't make sense, just message me and say, brother man, slow that down because I don't know what you're talking about right now, all right? Here's how it works. You will, because our minds are so powerful, most people trap other people in their prisoned thoughts. So the challenge of when you see yourself small is that you create a small world for the people around you. Let me explain what I mean. So one parent goes out to with their children to a festival, and the child says, "Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, can I have that?" And during the entire and a festival is supposed to be festive. That's why it's called a festival. And that person, instead of being excited, the kids are excited. Oh, mommy, daddy, no, put that back. You can't have that. You can't have that. Put that back. You can't have that. You can't have that. That's too much money. You can't have that. Put that back. Put that back. Don't touch that. What are you doing? Don't touch that. And eventually now, the festival becomes hell. Now the festival that was so much fun this morning becomes a painful experience, because all the child learns is that in a place of celebration, they can't have it. Why? Because mom and dad think that they can't afford it. And so now that child learns, oh, we can't afford this. And then eventually they begin to shrink. Now, if mom and dad said to that child in that moment, not that you should give a child everything they want, but they are at a festival, okay? If at that moment, mom and dad would have had a different conversation, they could have created a different reality, not so scarcity driven for that child. But because they see that thing as a cost and not as an experience. You see, the difference between the cost of something and the experience of something is how you see the something. One person sees going on an exotic vacation as expensive. That's too expensive. The other person says, I have to go because of the experience. It's the same amount of money, but it's two very different perspectives of the same experience. So my question is, when you approach life, are you putting people around you in the prison of your thinking, or are you willing to grow yourself so that you can create abundance around you and abundance for the people around you? Just a thought for you. You see, let me share this with you. Let me just explain this for you for a second. Dr. Martin Luther King said, the time is always right to do what's right. And that's such a true statement. It's such a simple statement. But let me tell you what I mean here in this conversation. What I mean here in this conversation is the time is always right for you to become better. Because either you're becoming better progressively or you're becoming bitter progressively. Either way, you are progressing. You're either progressing to be better or your progression will make you bitter. But either way, you're moving. The question is, are you moving forward? Most people think things look the same. Has anyone ever looked in the mirror? Be honest. How many of you ever looked in the mirror? Give me a hand raise if you know what I'm talking about. You look in the mirror, and one day you're like, is that a gray hair? Huh? I know, I did it. I did it the other day. I was like, man, look at these bad boys coming up here. But here's what's crazy. I feel like the same me, but all of a sudden I'm like, I've got gray hairs. Oh my God, that's a gray hair. Oh my God. All of a sudden I look up and I have gray hair, and all of a sudden I feel like the same me, but I'm not the same me. I'm growing. Growing yourself is always the right thing to do. You see, because everyone wants to be recognized for what they do. Recognition is great. You know, when you get on a big stage or when you see your leaders who speak on these Zooms, that's recognition for their efforts. But it's what they did when no one was out that gets you recognized in the light. My question is, when no one is looking, what are you doing? How are you growing yourself in your business when eyes are not on you? You see, when only God's eyes are on you, how are you growing yourself in your business? When there's no one to say, way to go, attaboy, attagirl, way to go. When there's no one to clap for you, are you willing to do the things so one day you can be clapped for because you're just happy doing the things because you're clapping for yourself? You see, when I was in that bathroom, my bathroom in Newark, New Jersey, running in place, every day that I did it, I felt so great about me. No one was there to celebrate me or cheer me on, but man, I felt so great about me. I'm like, man, I'm doing something. And you all know what that feels like. You see, most people only act from the feelings of positive outcomes, but leaders make all outcomes positive. Let me explain. Right now, we have this virus. That's not new information to you. That's not new information to you. Every one of you know there's a virus. Here's what they told you to do. Put on a mask, practice social distancing, wash your hands. How many of you remember hearing wash your hands when you were a kid? Do you remember that we had to like wash our hands as a kid? How many of you remember when you heard when you were a kid, if you cough into your hand, cough into your elbow, that's what you were told as a kid. You were told how to beat the coronavirus as a child. Cough into your head, cover your mouth when you sneeze, right? Now all of a sudden we get older and dirty. Now we're a bunch of dirty like we don't even cover anything. We can't wash our hands anymore. And viruses spread. We're like, oh my God, I don't know how this spread. Hey, you can't, if you didn't wash your hands and you didn't cover your nose. Hey, guess what? So these are not new things, but here's what a leader does. A leader says, okay, I'm sitting in the middle of a global pandemic. Well, here's what most people do. Most people say, oh my God, here's what most people are doing. Most people are glued to the news, watching how many people pass away every day. That's what they're doing. Like that for them is it's like a really, really sick activity. Like why, let me tell you something. Every news program you watch is going to say the same thing. Bad news happened today. Bad news is going to happen tomorrow. Is that new? Did I cover the news for the day for you all? Are you good now? Or do you need to spend a week watching it, right? So what does a leader do? A leader says, okay, what can I do? What can I do right now? So let's say I'm Fadi Baba. I see you, Fadi Baba. So let's say I'm Fadi, right? Now, Fadi could either watch the news or Fadi could say, you know what? I need to use this time to get better. Pamela can either say, I need to use this time to get better. You see, when a caterpillar goes inside of this thing called a chrysalis, it's called a chrysalis. We call it a cocoon. It's chrysalis, right? And in that chrysalis, it comes out a butterfly. Caterpillar goes into isolation. There's a lesson here. Caterpillar goes into isolation. No other caterpillars in that chrysalis but that caterpillar, and comes out a butterfly. My question for you is, when this is all said and done, and it will be done, what are you going to come out as? Why can't you use this time where everyone is around, no one is out, everyone is home, everyone's available? Why can't you become an RVP from your living room? Why can't you become an SVP from your living room? Why should you, when this is done, and it will be done, it will be contained, this too shall pass. When this passes, why should you leave your home the same position you were in before this all started. What a shame it would be that in isolation, you stayed a caterpillar. That'd be terrible. My hope and prayer is that you, Sonny G, are going to come out better after all this is done than you were when you were in. Miss Anastasia Darwish, my hope and prayer is that when this is all done, you come out better than you've ever been in your entire life. But it's only going to happen through thinking like a leader. Leaders control how they speak. How you speak is so important. Leaders control themselves. They measure their words. Words are so important. Words are everything. You create your life through your words. So make sure when you speak about yourself, you speak about yourself in a level of amazing, and you speak about yourself like you're the most incredible human being there's ever been in this entire world. Your words create your worlds. A good man, so there's different faiths on here. Everyone has a different belief system. There are people of totally different faiths. But here's what is common amongst every faith. Every faith in the world is designed to have you be better. It doesn't matter what faith you are. Every faith is designed to make you better. So if every faith is designed to make you better, how can you practice that faith and become worse? I mean, you know, if someone says they're a Christian and they become worse, that's terrible. If someone says they're Muslim and they become worse, that's terrible. Why study this stuff and be worse? Don't study it. But if you're going to study this stuff, at least get a little better. So in the Bible, which is something I'm most familiar with, and this is not biblically specific, this is just life specific. It says a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. And an evil man brings evil things out of the heart stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. You see, if your heart is full with anger and rage, it has to come out. It has no choice. If your heart is filled with light and joy and love, it has to come out. It has no choice. You will speak who you are. You can pretend to be someone for a while, but you will speak who you truly are. And so I want to talk to you as we begin to wrap this up about your heart. Because, you know, some people say things like in the movies, like, I love you with all my heart. How many of you know those great movies? I love you. I mean, some of you, put your hands up give me a hands up if you're a romantic. You're just like you love watching the movies late at night on Netflix when no one's around. You watch those programs and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. I just love it. Right? While you're home arguing with your spouse or yelling at your kids, you're like, ah, right? We all know these things happen, okay? But I want to talk to you about your heart because you say these things and you don't even really realize sometimes how powerful it is what you're really saying. Mr. Ahmad Ibrahim, you don't even realize so much. Yeah, I see you. You don't even realize how when you say things, Mr. Lawrence Lunar, you don't even realize how what you're saying, how honest it really is. So let me talk to you about your heart for a second, because if you can get this last piece I'm going to give you, man, you'll save your life a whole lot of time. All right. So here's how this goes. Right. So the heart has a magnetic field, an electromagnetic field, and it's actually the most powerful. It's the most powerful electromagnetic field in the human body. Your heart, this thing right here, has an electromagnetic field, and it's the most powerful electromagnetic field in the body. It is so powerful that there are magnometers, which are machines that measure magnetic fields, that can measure the magnetic field of your heart from several feet away. So I want you to imagine you are 5 feet away with this machine, and this machine can read the energy coming off of your heart. Now you got to stop and think about that for a second, because you got to think to yourself that how God created you is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, right? So here's my other point. Just pay attention. I'm going somewhere. Just follow me, right? Neurocardiologists, doctors of the heart, have discovered that 60 to 65% of the cells in the heart are neutral. They're identical to the cells in the brain. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 60 to 65% of the cells in the heart are identical to the cells in your brain. Someone, George Nixon, is going to have an aha moment on this webinar. I guarantee you that. Someone is. Someone for sure is. All right? So, the heart also produces, the also is also an endocrine organ, and it produces oxytocin, love or bonding hormone. So when you say to someone, I love with all my heart, you actually are right. Your heart is producing love hormones. That's not just talk, but here's the thing that's crazy. 60 to 65% of the neural cells in our brain and heart are completely identical. Hold on, I'm going somewhere. So there's a doctor named Dr. David Vesley, and he's a cancer researcher out of Florida. And Dr. David Vesley realized this. I want you to read along with me. Read along with me. Using colon, ovarian, breast, prostate, and pancreatic cancer cells, among others, Vesley found that cardiac hormones, the hormones of your heart, kill up to 97% of all cancers in cell cultures in 24 hours. Okay. Raise your hands if you know someone that's ever been afflicted with cancer, any form. Just give me a hand raise. Okay, okay, got it. Yeah, a lot of you, right? Isn't it crazy that with all the science there is in the world, that your heart produces the hormones that kills 97% of all cancer cells in 24 hours? I'm just curious as to, I mean, you tell me, Lawrence, I'm gonna unmute you for a second. You tell me something, Lawrence. Unmute yourself. What do you think about what I just said? By the way, Lawrence Lunar, that is. Very rarely do I have the opportunity to actually talk to people. What do you think about what I just said, Lawrence? Can you speak or are you nervous?
Yeah, no, it's everything is the heart, sir. I actually just came out of a night shift, but yeah, I totally agree with that one, that, the heart has a major factor in the healing process of a human being. And it is very helpful to obviously, give love to someone in order for them to heal.
That's right. Like you say, you just came out of night shift. Are you in healthcare?
Yes, I work as a nurse. Just came out of my job just recently.
Hey, buddy. Hey, thank you for being on the front line, and stay safe.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Your heart heals. Now, I'm going to go back for a second. Hold on. Going to go back for a second. If 60 to 65% of the cells in the heart and the brain are the same, then here's your mission in life. Your mission in life is to get your heart and your mind to align. Sometimes you feel that you should go this way, but you talk yourself out of it because you're using your brain only. You're not doing what they say. They say follow your, no one ever said follow your brain. They say follow your heart. When your heart and your brain are not in alignment, there's disharmony in you. Some of you know this disharmony. There's the you that you know you're supposed to be, and the you you've talked yourself into being. Worse than that is the you you've let other people talk you into being. Look, if you know where you're going and you allow yourself to totally believe, now this and this become one. They become one. But until you let this and this become one, your life will be one of dysfunction. I should be here, but I'm here. Now I'm mad that I'm here when I know I should be here. And then you become bitter, not better. Everyone, your life is not an accident. You are here to do something really special in the world. So my hope and prayer is that you make the decision to lead yourself. My hope and prayer is that you make the decision to serve others. You know, some of you said you're going to be going RVP, but you haven't done it yet. It's time to line up your heart and your mind and stop fighting against yourself. Stop believing for a day and doubting for a month. Stop believing for a moment and doubting for moments. Just believe. Hey, why shouldn't you believe? Someone else has done it. Some of you are already RVPs. You said you're going to promote RVPs. You said you'd be an RD. You said you'd promote RDs. You said you'd become a 100 customer champion. Some of you said that you'd promote 100 customer champions. Some of you said you're going to walk the stage and let others see your success for you and your team. Well, how about this? How about you actually do it? How about you actually do it? How about instead of thinking it, how about you make the choice to do it? And in making the choice to do it, you can completely change your life. So as I wrap this up, I just want to say, you know, whenever I have the opportunity to speak to people, it's a joy for me. So I'm looking at the comments right now, and thank you to you. Thank you to you. You're thanking me. I'm thanking you. I'm thanking you because we get to be in this moment in this life together. And I get to share my life with you because time is life and life is time. If you think about your life, life isn't money, life is time. And so when we share time with each other, we're sharing a little bit of our lives with each other. And in sharing a little bit of our lives with each other, just in what we've done here, we can make each other so much better. And it's my hope and prayer that since you've given me a little bit of your life, and I've given you a little bit of my life, that we've made each other's lives a little bit better. And that we can take your day and I can take my night. And since you all are in the future, that you do something in your day that I have to catch up to in my day. Since you're in the future, my hope is that you're doing something right now with your day that's so inspiring that it forces me to catch up in my day. I wish you great success. I wish you to take advantage of this opportunity and change your life. I wish you to change the lives of the people around you. I wish you to have your heart and your mind be one and not fight one another. I wish you all the success in the world. I don't just mean monetarily. I don't just mean monetarily. Money is a measuring stick. It's not everything, but it's a measuring stick of service. People with no money aren't serving people. That's why they have no money. They're trying to serve themselves. Serving yourself is like you're in a boat, you're in a canoe with one paddle. But if you could go from a canoe to a boat, if you go from a boat to a sailboat, if you go from a sailboat to a luxury liner, see, the larger you are in your vision of yourself, the more people you can carry. In that little canoe, I could carry maybe 1 or 2, 3 or 4 people. But if I see myself bigger, I can carry an ocean-sized ocean liner and carry hundreds of people, thousands of people with my vision. I hope your vision of your life is so grand that thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people get impacted by who you are being in your life. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I don't know if Mr. James is coming on. I don't know. I don't know who's going to take over right now, but I'll tell you what, if it's MD, you're blessed.
Yes,
Whoever comes on, you're blessed. That's all I know. So Mr. MD, I'm going to turn over to you, sir. God
Thank
bless
you
you
so
and the whole team.
James, I don't have enough what I mentioned. I'm shortage of word, but you see the people. Our call limit was 500. We reached 500. I know some of those people try to join. This is one of the best call in Asian Pacific history.